The Midsummer Island event is officially over, and what did I think about it? Well, I enjoyed it. A lot, actually. Well, no, it was okay. Wait, no, actually, it was one of my favorite events that Genshin has ever released, but it was also kind of lackluster. All right, I'm clearly confused. Allow me to explain why by going through what I thought about the event's story and then the actual event itself. But first, obviously the first thing that confuses me is, why aren't you subscribed yet? And we all know why you should be. Because if you don't, then the Dark Lord will rise from the ashes of Pompeo and create a rift where every gaming channel on YouTube is actually just Fortnite dance tutorials. Also, today's comment shoutout is from Rice Pie, who says this: "Thank you so much for the really nice comment." Also, honestly, that does sound pretty dope. I do think that we will get some kind of mech in the future, even if it's only for like one segment. I mean, we know that there are steampunk-esque robots in this world, so I'm sure we will see some type of pilotable mech in the future, even if that does sound crazy. So why am I mixed on this event? Well, I'm having trouble critiquing this event because it's so intrinsically tied to the Golden Apple Archipelago area itself. And while I want to make a video about what I think about the archipelago, this isn't the one. So let's try and look at what the event did that wasn't tied to the archipelago. But first, we have to start with how the event introduced the archipelago. See where I'm having a problem with this. Firstly, I really liked the setup for this event. The intrigue with Klee getting a letter and everyone coming together to figure out if this was even a real place was really interesting. I also really enjoyed the use of multiple characters here. This is the first event where we have characters from a region going to a new region, and I think that they should keep that up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the story portion of the event will stay until the archipelago goes away. I mean, the story is intrinsically tied to the archipelago in a way where I don't think that they could just get rid of it without getting rid of the island itself, right? Like the fog portion, or the island's raising, or the island at the end opening up. Like, I think people will still get to experience the story, which means it's not technically a part of the event. Well, I'm still gonna talk about it anyway. So if you don't want hardcore spoilers of it, click to here, because I really want to talk about the end of the story. And I know that I'm skipping a lot of the story, but like the rest of the story was just kind of build up anyway. All right, so for those of you who are still here, the reveal that Klee is actually an illusion created by Paimon to trick Kaya into revealing that he's actually a Dilu clone was pretty crazy. Now everybody who hasn't completed the event is really confused. But the reveal that Klee's mom is essentially omniscient and seemingly omnipotent because she raised and essentially formed the islands into a playground was also wild. And now that I say it out loud, that one sounds fake too. I can see some people not liking this reveal here. It kind of seems like, aha, we got you. Did you really think that a villain did this and that there were actual stakes in this story? And while I can definitely see that argument, I also think that it worked for me, at least, because it was equally as shocking. If it was just Klee's mom saying, we left you a letter to this place because we're bad parents. See you when we get home from getting some cigarettes. Mommy loves you. Then I would have been annoyed. But learning that Klee is essentially a demigod that like lives longer and that Albedo kinda is too was pretty crazy. Did we already know that they were related? Because I definitely didn't remember that if that was already revealed. It also starts to reveal more about Albedo's secrets from his story. I was thinking there for a bit that maybe Albedo might be like the Traveler and not from this world based on the ambiguities from his character quest. But now it's having me think that it might be tied to his lineage instead. Also, this is the first time that we've seen or heard of a character that is this powerful outside of actual gods, of course. Seemingly Klee's mom can, again, be anywhere at any time because Klee says that she still sees her and talks to her. Oh, this also kind of disproves another fan theory. A lot of people have been thinking that Kaya is evil, but this event kind of puts that to rest, right? If he were evil, then Klee's mom would probably know this since she essentially knows everybody there's secrets. I mean, unless he's more powerful than her, I guess. And Paimon can still be hiding stuff from her too. That theory still works. Paimon's definitely the main bad guy. Overall, I don't think the reveal was a cop-out. If anything, I liked it because it really showed how powerful Klee's mom was, and by extension, Klee and Albedo potentially are. It's interesting, and I can't wait to see Alice potentially in action in the future. So that's it for the story. Overall, thought it was a good introduction to the archipelago and interesting reveals that actually recontextualized some characters. So then, what did I think about the 4 parts of the event itself? Well, they were a mixed bag, to say the least. Let's start with the boat challenges. I spoke about this a bit more in detail in my previous video, but I dug them. I think the challenges were a bit easy, but I did enjoy the fact that the developers seemed to want to mix things up by using the boat in interesting ways, like with how the boat trial event had you jumping out, flying around, and coming back, as well as shooting at enemies, of course. Honestly, for the whole event, the races were my favorite part, if we're not including the story. Now, what about the boss event? It exists, right? It was fine. It's always cool to get more rewards, and I get what they were clearly going for. Like, they wanted to incentivize people for fighting the boss, even if they weren't going to use their resin for the materials. They wanted to give you a reason to do it. I totally get that, and I honestly think that that's an intelligent way to get people to try out a new boss. However, the challenges were a bit meh, right? Like, you can get the challenges done incredibly quickly. I think what they should have done is added a bit more attempts to receive some rewards, or a bit more interesting challenges, like only battling it with a specific element, or not using a ranged character, or something like that. Speaking of using ranged characters against Maguu Kenki, it seemed like on release he would essentially be immune to range damage. Like, that's what it sounded like in the live stream, but nah, just as a little counter to it. Honestly wish he was immune to range damage, because that would require some players to switch things up. Overall, the boss section of the event was fine. I don't know, seemed really quick and didn't really do what they intended, but it had Primo Gems! Finally, we've got probably my least favorite of the bunch, and that was the bombs event. I think my perception of this event was kinda hindered by the equipment process of the bombs themselves. The fact that you can't equip multiple items at once makes this event kinda annoying. Either you just go into a camp and just use one type of bomb, or you have to open your inventory and then switch in the middle of battle. It just felt really clunky. Again, I like how they incentivize using the bombs, as the enemies are much stronger than usual, but the bombs like decimate the enemies. So it essentially just ends up with you sitting there, using a bomb, running around for a sec to use another, and then reloading, which is a weird process on PS4 as the item gets unequipped off of R2 after every use, so you have to press L1 in circle, I think, then R2, and then rinse, and then you go into your menu to switch, and then you do it again. Honestly, didn't vibe with this section of the event. I do like how they were clearly trying to make you feel like Klee by using bombs to blow shit up. Again, it's a nice touch, but the implementation was lacking because it felt so cumbersome for the reasons that I listed. Overall, first half of the event was really great and introduced the boat in unique and fun ways, whereas I get where they were going with the second half, but I think the implementation needed some work. Overall, it was a pretty okay event. Now, stay tuned for my thoughts on the actual Archipeligo in the future, because I've got a lot to say about them, and to do that, you can subscribe. If you like this video, you can also click the like button, and if you like my style, you can check out my other channel. Just released a new video there that took me a bit to make, so if you like video games generally, I'd obviously suggest checking it out. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.